They can also take advantage facilities, the Innovation and Collaboration Building. Here you will find...
And we are about ready to go at the University of Tampa for the first game of a weekend series between the Spartans and the Quincy Hawks. Your Tampa Spartans, still ranked top in the nation, enter this weekend with a 5-1 record, a 2-game winning streak at the conclusion of the Montevallo series after a disappointing Friday night defeat prevented any hopes of another 10-game win streak to start the season for the Spartans. But one win today would bring the Tampa team to 3 wins in a row and 6 wins for 2025. Quincy will be hoping to stop the Spartans. They're coming off a victory to close out their opening weekend series against Lincoln Memorial. They had 2 one-run losses and one bit of a tongue twister there, one-run victory to close out the weekend. They'll be taking on Tampa wearing the cream and red jerseys. Tampa debuted these uniforms last season, and I have to say that me and Jack hold the opinion that they are extremely fun to see on the field for the Spartans, and they've also yielded a lot of success, so why make any change to them now? It'll be Skylar Gonzalez taking the mound for Tampa today. Has a no decision in both of his appearances so far this season, striking out 11 over 9 innings. He was the opener against Montevallo last time out, giving up just 1 run over 5 innings, but Tampa as a whole took a 5-2 defeat in that game. Last season, Gonzalez was one of the top pitchers in the nation with a 16-0 record, and you do have to feel a little bit bad for Gonzalez, because how are you supposed to follow up a 16-0 season? Well, maybe he's trying to go 17-0, but have to win every single game the rest of the way to likely do so. Here's the Quincy lineup as we get ready to kick off the series. They have David Broughton leading off at third base. And batting in second is Matt Mateo out in right field. Batting in third is Joe Huffman, and right behind him is J.D. Ortiz batting in fourth. Batting in fifth is Byron Blaze. Batting in sixth is Cole Erickson. Batting in seventh, they've got Carson Moreno. Batting in eighth, they've got Jake Vitale. And rounding out the order is Ben Deloff, batting in ninth. They'll have the number 29 of Cade Ruffner on the mound, but it'll be the right-handed batter, Broughton, starting us off. Broughton hit .367 last year, although it was only 3 hits in his first 14 tries for 2024. As mentioned, the Hawks are 1-2 as they're starting out their season with their second season starting out the season with the second series of the year. And the first pitch just down low for ball 1. A lot of close matchups on their opening weekend for Quincy. Hoping for the same against the Spartans. That pop-up is in play. And it is... Did it get caught at the dugout? I don't think so, as the ball rolled away. You do like the hustle and effort from Irigoyen and Russo on that play, though. That'll bring 1 strike to the count. We're at 1-1. Here's the Spartans' defense as we get underway. In left field, we've got Williams. In center field, we've got Villegas. And in right field, we've got Ashby. From left to right in the infield, we've got Carstetter, Urso, Saladino, and Russo. Irigoyen forms the battery with Gonzalez. And it'll be Woodburn as the DH. Another foul ball. That'll bring the count to 1-2 for Broughton. Tampa not really playing a shift on him, although the center fielder is slightly to his left-hand side. Good frame attempt by Irigoyen, but I think he might have done a little too much as that misses outside for ball 2. Gonzalez gets set. Hit sharply to Urso. It'll be a close play at first, and Urso gets the out just in time. 1 away to start the top of the first. It was a slow grounder, but Urso got there just in time to get the out. That'll bring Mateo to the plate, batting in second. Looking up and down the Quincy lineup, they've got 2 left-handed batters, and Ortiz and Vital, they are batting 4th and 8th respectively. So they may have a little ways to go before they get the reverse sides for an at-bat. Of course, I am very much incorrect. Mateo is batting as a left-handed batter, so he's either a switch-handed batter, or we just got it wrong on our stats broadcast page where you can check out the game live. Anyway, it's a 1-1 count for Mateo. Swing and a miss. Breaking ball up top. Got a whiff from Mateo. That brings the count to 1-2. Mateo had a successful opening weekend, hitting the lone home run for Quincy, and also is the team leader with 4 RBIs. He'll be hoping to make it 5 in the game today. Whether he tries to take Gonzalez deep or finds a way to bring home a run if he finds himself in that position later, we'll have to wait and see. The 2-2 to Mateo. Down the line and foul. That likely would have skipped past Karstetter the opposite way. Looking at the Spartans' defensive positioning, their second baseman and shortstop, Urso and Saladino, playing a bit deep, but they're not necessarily shifted too heavily to one direction. That's going to be lined right to Urso, makes a sliding pickup, and while it took a bounce, that didn't stop Urso from getting the throw in time, 2 away. Urso as cool as you'd like on that grab for the second out of the inning. That'll bring the other shortstop, the one for Quincy, Huffman, to the plate. The right-handed batter is a junior from Avon, Indiana. Huffman's featured in 9 at-bats as he started every single game this season. Swing and a miss, 0-1. In those 9 at-bats, he's brought home 3 RBIs with 1 extra base hit. Looks like the infield shifting a little to the left here. You see Urso a bit further away from the second base bag, and Saladino shifting a little bit closer. Nothing too egregious, but you do notice it a little bit as the count is 1-1. That's going to get through for a base hit, out of reach of Karstetter. He almost made a nice grab to prevent it from getting to the outfield. Williams has got plenty of time to make sure it's not extra bases. Huffman aboard with 2 away. First base runner conceded by Gonzalez today. That'll bring up Ortiz. Another righty-lefty matchup. This time we knew Ortiz was a left-handed batter. He's a senior from Kerman, California, was previously at Southern Illinois University. Ball 1. Gonzalez missing down low. Ortiz is only featured twice for Quincy, getting 2 appearances in games. He's only recorded 1 hit so far this season. But he will get ahead in the count 2-0. Close call for Gonzalez, but couldn't get the call. However, Ortiz looking to get back on track for the season. Last year, slugged .629 with 12 home runs. 3rd best for the Quincy lineup. And you don't want to fall behind a power hitter, 3-0. That's exactly what Gonzalez has done. After Ortiz on deck, we've got Blaze, the catcher. And Gonzalez stays alive, strike 1. There's no shift being played on Ortiz, although Russo is covering the bag to try to hold Huffman at first. Ball 4. Tried to paint the outside corner and just missed. First walk of the game for the Spartans. And there are 2 base runners with 2 away. Here comes Blaze to the plate. This would be a great chance for Quincy to get on the board early. Both runners will be going on anything with 2 away, so the Spartans defense will have to be ready. First pitch rolled on the ground to Urso. Will be a close play. His throw just in time for out number 3. All 3 outs have come from the arm of J.D. Urso, and I wouldn't say any of those plays were easy to make. Great defense from the Spartans as they will strand 2 base runners to take us to the bottom of the first. We'll be back with action on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network.
On the east side of
I'm going
campus.
to think in a sec. And welcome back to the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. Bottom of the first, ready to begin. The Spartans and Quincy Hawks taking on each other once again. They're a team that has faced off in the early stages of the season sometimes. And a return to Tampa is usually enjoyed by the visiting teams, especially at this time of the year. I was able to quickly catch up with Coach Matt Schissel before the game, and he was able to sort of echo those sentiments. It's always good to take on Coach Joe Urso's teams to play at Tampa, and it's always great practice for a team like Quincy to face some of the best, as they hope to be some of the best in college baseball. For the Hawks on the mound today will be Ruffner, the 29 redshirt sophomore from Bryant, Arkansas, is making his second appearance. He struck out 4 and walked 4 over 2 2/3 innings against Lincoln Memorial to open the season back last Friday. Those command issues could be a little worrisome for a Tampa team that knows how to get on base at a very strong rate. Pulling back the bunt, that's going to be strike 1. Let's give you the quick Spartans lineup as we continue. Leading off is Jordan Williams. He'll be followed by Edgardo Villegas. Batting in third, J.D. Urso. Batting in fourth, Cole Russo. Batting in fifth, Braden Woodburn. Batting in sixth is Kevin Karstetter. Batting in seventh is Lenny Ashby. Batting in eighth is Joander Irigoyen. And batting in ninth is Nico Saladino. No big changes for the Spartans lineup. This is how they've usually run throughout the season. Notably, Woodburn's the DH. And now here's the 0-2 to Williams. Tipped foul, so after going down 0-2, he does stay alive. Saw a bit of the stuff that Ruffner can show in his previous outing with the 4 strikeouts. And while he did concede 5 runs, only one of them was earned, which is always painful as a pitcher. I mean, it looks better on the ERA, but when 5 runs come home, it is still going to be against you, even if it came off an error. This will be a good test for Ruffner to try to get into the win column to continue 2025. His last appearance with Quincy was his debut for the Hawks. He comes to the Hawks from Purdue University as a transfer. Flared foul. That did have some carry to it from Williams, and it's just out of play. Williams has had an incredible start to the season, batting at a .625 average, 600 on base, and .1250 slugging percentage through the first two series. He sent 3 balls over the fence for 13 RBIs. So a bit of a risk to have him as the leadoff man until you see the stolen base numbers as he brings the count 2-2. Because he has stolen 6 bases in 6 games. So here we go again. The 2-2 to Williams. Did he go? No. That hit him. And he'll take his free base. Well, actually, I might have been mistaken. Either it hit him and he got aboard, or he swung and missed, but as the ball got away from Blaze, he was able to reach safely. Same outcome, there's no outs and a runner on first. Williams possesses a great base-stealing threat for the Spartans, too, having 6 of the 12 team stolen bases on the season, and Coach Urso never shies away from sending the runner. There he goes on the first pitch. The breaking ball was not the right offering for Ruffner, and Williams narrowly avoids the tag as he actually slid a little too far. Might have misjudged the turf to slide on that time around, but that is stolen base number 7 for Williams. Tampa has a runner in scoring position on a 1-0 count for Villegas. Villegas hitting .261 through his first 6 games as a Spartan. He's only had 1 RBI. I believe he had been the leadoff man for a majority of the first few Spartan games he's played in. And now we'll take the count to 1-1. We've had 2 lefty-righty matchups to start the game for the Spartans. Williams is a switch hitter, but with Ruffner being a righty, Williams was batting as a lefty. The platoon advantage stays with the Spartans for those leadoff duo. Urso, the right-hander, is on deck. Williams is going to go to third. Swing and a miss. Throw not in time. 8th stolen base of the season for Williams, and he is now 90 feet away, as Villegas is actually going to end that at bat with strike 3. The count was 1-2, and that is the first out of the inning. Good recovery by Ruffner to get the strikeout, and he didn't let Williams in the base path distract him, so got the first out of the inning. Downside is that if Urso gets anything under this baseball, Tampa will take a lead on a sacrifice fly. And he wanted to on the first pitch. That's strike 1. He went around on the slider. Urso's been solid on his return to the Spartans. Had a home run in the opening weekend. He's batting .318 through all 6 games. Unsurprisingly, he's been the everyday shortstop to start the season for the Spartans. And he's going to ground that to third base. Throw to the plate, and they've got plenty of time to get Williams out for out number 2. Heads up play by Broughton. And that time, a little too aggressive on the base running, as Urso reaches first on a fielder's choice. If that was a little bit of a slower hit, if it was a trickier play at the hot corner, they probably would have gotten away with Williams being safe, because in that situation, you'd want to just make sure you get the out. But there was plenty of time for Broughton to get the throw to Blaze, and he had about a full second to prepare his tag. Now we'll see maybe if Urso's active on the base path. He's had 2 stolen bases this season. He stays put as Russo flares that into the gap. It's going to drop for a base hit in the Bermuda Triangle. Runners at the corners. Urso standing up at third. Russo standing up at first. Russo has got that clutch base hitting ability that Tampa certainly appreciates. He's brought 3 RBIs home this season and also 2 long balls. That time, it's just a single, but it's all Tampa needed to set up Braden Woodburn. Woodburn wearing the 2 that Drew Earhart made famous over his tenure with the Spartans. And like Drew Earhart, he's able to play at different spots across the diamond, notably second base and first base. Today, Woodburn doesn't need to worry about fielding at all. He's the designated hitter. And he'll get ahead 1-0. So Ruffner, the D1 transfer, in a little bit of trouble. Here's the 1-0 to Woodburn. That was a great location for the slider. From high to low to the outside corner. 1-1. Slider is going to allow Russo to go to second, and Blaze just holds on to the ball. 2-1 count, and 2 runners in scoring position for Tampa. He's opened up with the off-speed stuff for the entirety of the at-bat so far, and that time around just escaped Blaze to allow Russo to get to second safely. A bad throw to try to get Russo out would have allowed Urso to make it home safely, so you just want to hold on to the ball in that situation. 2-1 to Woodburn. Ball 3. There is a free base for Ruffner to put Woodburn aboard, but then you'd have to worry about Karstetter on deck. He's been a little quiet since his opening weekend, batting only .250, slightly below the team average of .300 at the moment, but a very dangerous batter to have batting 6th. And that's ball 4. He finally goes to the fastball, but it misses down low. Great discipline by Woodburn. The Spartans, known for their great discipline last season. And so far this season, they've also done a good job of getting on board. 30 walks drawn in their first 6 games entering today, compared to just 33 strikeouts as a team. Conversely, they've struck out 61 opponents over that span of 6 games, and have only conceded 15 walks. You always like it when you have a pitching staff of a 4-to-1 strikeout-to-walk ratio. Karstetter takes outside for ball 1, and you don't want to fall behind in a count against Karstetter, who is having some very good hitting numbers in D1 last season at Arizona State. Tampa's gotta love having a player like Karstetter on your team, as he's going to take the slider inside for a strike, 1-1. Last season with the Sun Devils, he batted .260, .372, .410. Down the line, that is going deep. Mateo gets by him on a diving hop. That'll clear the bases, and Karstetter's thinking 3. Here's the first throw in. Karstetter, he was thinking about going home, and no, he's going to go there as the throw isn't good. An inside the park grand slam for Karstetter. Unbelievable. I was too focused on Karstetter to notice that the relay from Mateo to third base was not clean. Once it got past the diving Mateo, it was going to score all 3 runs. But Karstetter didn't slow down at third base. He sort of staggered for a second. He sort of waited because he wasn't sure if he should run or not. But once he saw the ball kind of rolling a bit too slow across the infield, he decided to go all the way home. So a base is clearing. Grand slam inside the park home run, depending on what they grade that in terms of the fielding result of that play, has put Tampa up 4-0. And that one's going to be driven deep by Ashby, but it's higher instead of farther, and that'll end the inning. So good for Ruffner to immediately get the final out on the very next pitch, but you got to be disappointed about the 4 runs coming home on one swing of the bat. We've currently got it listed as a bases clearing 3 RBI triple, or make it 4 RBIs, as Tampa on 4 runs, 2 hits, and no errors takes a commanding lead to enter the top of the second.
In the late 1920s, the prospect of a Hillsborough High student enrolling in college was bleak. The nation was in the throes of the Great Depression. Businesses were failing, and many of Tampa's beautiful waterfront homes were left abandoned. The principal at Hillsborough High, Frederick Spalding, didn't see these barriers. He only saw bright young students who were in need of a place to continue their learning. In 1931, collegiate-level courses were offered at Hillsborough High. This would later become the University of Tampa. On August 2, 1933, Spalding arrived at the doors of Plant Hall with a 100-year lease from the city and a firm resolve, and with the turn of a key, opened the door to the University of Tampa. In its fledgling years, UT was fortunate if it could collect half of the tuition due from its students. It was only through the dedication of its professors, who worked without pay, that the university survived the Great Depression. Over the next several decades, UT grew slightly, enrolling up to 1,800 at times, starting several sports teams, and even began accepting students from other areas of the country. But in the early 90s, the growth seemed to stand still, even stop. UT needed new life, some passion. UT needed strong leadership.
In 1995, Dr. Vaughn became president and UT began to transform. 1,000 UT students has become 7,200, and we are now entering our 17th consecutive year of record enrollment. All the while, UT's academic profile continues to increase. There has been $350 million in new construction since 2000. We have added 7 new residence halls, academic buildings and labs, as well as athletic facilities. Plant Hall even got new carpet and new windows. UT.
And welcome back to the University of Tampa. I'm Taylor Storthy. We've got Alex running the show. I am solo today on the commentary call because Jack Ike is covering Spartans basketball throughout the weekend. You can always tune into those matchups on Tampa Spartans TV and the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. Out-of-conference baseball continues. Strike one from Skylar Gonzalez. And to end the previous inning, we had a bit of chaos on the baseball diamond. Bases loaded, 2 away. Carstetter hit a line drive down the right field line that Mateo just missed an impressive diving catch on. It rolled to the corner, scoring all 3 base runners before Carstetter hit third base and started to head home, but slowed for a second as Urso was trying to hold him up. But the relay from right field back to third base wasn't as clean as Quincy were hoping for, so Carstetter started moving again and made it home safely. So that ultimately ends up either as a Carstetter grand slam or a Carstetter 4 RBI triple. There's no error on the play, so all runs batted in would count for Carstetter. That'll miss outside on the 0-2 count. Erickson still behind 1-2 now, but pretty exciting moment nonetheless for the Spartans, and that gives Skylar Gonzalez a ton of run support here in the top of the second. Nice breaking ball from Gonzalez. Had a lot of late break on the changeup, but Erickson keeps the bat on his shoulder. The DH looking to get the offense going. 2-2. Driven at deep right center field. But it looks like it's got more air than more distance. That's out number 1. Easy catch made by Ashby. Ashby ended the previous inning with a pop-out. He was expecting a challenge pitch from Ruffner. I just got a little under it. But this time he gets a little revenge in the outfield on that fly ball that Erickson just got a little under it. Moreno steps up to the plate with 1 away. This season, Moreno's hitting .286 entering this weekend series. Strike 1. Although for Quincy as a team, they've only played 3 games all year long, so keep in mind a lot of the early batting numbers aren't going to mean anything until we get about a month or further in the year. Same for the Spartans, even though they've already had about a dozen at-bats throughout most of the lineup. It's still very early on, and you got to wait and see how things really shape up. 0-2 now for Skylar Gonzalez to Moreno. That'll miss outside for ball 1. Friday nights have been a little bit tricky to start the season for the Spartans. They barely beat Georgia College 5-4 thanks to a walk-off hit. Cole Russo got on board, and then eventually the run scored off the bat of Carstetter. Swing and a miss. 2 away in the first strikeout for Gonzalez. And then last Friday against Montevallo, the Spartans suffered defeat 2-5, with some late runs coming home for Montevallo to open the series with a Spartans L. And both the series against Georgia College and Montevallo, however, Tampa would go on to win games 2 and 3. And they enter today 5-1. If this scoreline holds, they'll be 6-1 as the count goes 1-0 to Vital. Swing and a miss, 1-1. Big whiff by Vital that time. Fouled away, make it 1-2. Unsurprisingly, after his dominance last season, Skylar Gonzalez was a preseason All-American, and with 2 solid openings to start the season, he's definitely living up to the hype. Can he make it 2 clean innings on this upcoming pitch? Well, maybe. It depends if the outfielders can reach that fly ball. And that just bounces out of Ashby's glove. He keeps on top of it to allow Vital a double. He won't let him go 3. That was hit right into the gap. Impressive try by Ashby, but couldn't come up with it on that sliding play. There have been some well-hit balls from Quincy so far. Tampa's defense always known to be able to back up their starters quite well. And Ashby, even though he missed the catch, recovered very quickly to make sure there wasn't extra bases. Compare that to the previous inning, where the ball dropped just in front of the Quincy outfielder and eventually brought Carstetter home on the hit. The second out is followed by the third out. Quick ground out to Carstetter as the side is retired. Quincy do get another base runner, but another one left in scoring position. 4-0, Spartans lead through 1.5.
This is the University of Tampa. UT students travel from across the nation and around the globe to join a dynamic learning community. There are 150 academic programs, continuing studies for non-traditional students, and a highly ranked graduate school. NCAA Division II athletics program.
And welcome back to the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. The Spartans lead 4-0. Irigoyen, Saladino, and Williams due up for Tampa. We've got some other Spartan sports underway today and tomorrow over the weekend. Over at the Namole Family Softball Field, the Spartans and St. Leo open conference play against each other. Still a tie game in their third inning of that matchup. You can check out that game as well on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. Tampa has a doubleheader against St. Leo tomorrow as well. Good take by Irigoyen, 2-0 count from Ruffner. At 7:30 p.m., Tampa's going to be facing off against Rockhurst in men's lacrosse. That's over at the Namole Family Intramural Complex, a bit further across campus. You can check out that game live on the SSC Digital Network, too. Irigoyen's going to rocket that one to right field, but it falls before the warning track for Mateo, one away. Cloudy skies at U Tampa, but the weather remains clear. One out for Saladino. Saladino was the everyday shortstop last season for the Spartans, but this year is shifted over to second base with the return of J.D. Urso. Provides good defensive flexibility for Tampa. Emerged back in 2023 as an elite second baseman for the Spartans. I know he was pretty crucial on the latter half of the season, as an open spot in the infield came after E.J. Doskow's injury, unfortunately, which shifted Woodburn from second to first, and then Saladino to second. Saladino continued well at shortstop last year and looking to continue the strong Spartans career here in 2025. This first at-bat today ends on 3 pitches. Swing and a miss. Ruffner gets strikeout number 2. 2 quick outs in the bottom of the second. The response you definitely want after conceding 4 in the bottom of the first. Top of the order, and Williams at the plate. Williams was hit and got aboard last time around. I believe that is what occurred. It was either that or he got on board after a pass ball on strike 3. Driven into the gap by Williams, but it's caught at the warning track by Mateo. Good hustle to get into the gap in right field, and Ruffner retires. The Spartans in order. Still a 4-0 Tampa lead as we enter the top of the third.
In the late 1920s, the prospect of a Hillsborough High student enrolling in college was bleak. The nation was in the throes of the Great Depression. Businesses were failing, and many of Tampa's beautiful waterfront homes were left abandoned. The principal at Hillsborough High, Frederick Spalding, didn't see these barriers. He only saw bright young students who were in need of a place to continue their learning. In 1931, collegiate-level courses were offered at Hillsborough High. This would later become the University of Tampa. On August 2, 1933, Spalding arrived at the doors of Plant Hall with a 100-year lease from the city and a firm resolve, and with the turn of a key, opened the door to the University of Tampa. In its fledgling years, UT was fortunate if it could collect half of the tuition due from its students. It was only through the dedication of its professors, who worked without pay, that the university survived the Great Depression. Over the next several decades, UT grew slightly, enrolling up to 1,800 at times, starting several sports teams, and even began accepting students from other areas of the country. But in the early 90s, the growth seemed to stand still, even stop. UT needed new life, some passion. UT needed strong leadership.
In 1995, Dr. Vaughn became president and UT began to transform. 1,000 UT students has become 7,200, and we are now entering our 17th consecutive year of record enrollment. All the while, UT's academic profile continues to increase. There has been $350 million in new construction since 2000. We have added 7 new residence halls, academic buildings and labs, as well as athletic facilities. Plant Hall even got new carpet and new windows. UT now has more than 3,000 events annually, and
And we're ready to resume at the University of Tampa. Welcome back to the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. I'm Taylor Sorley. Thank you for tuning in. A weekend of baseball continuing with the first pitch of the top of the third. Ball 1. We're back to the top of the order for Quincy. Broughton, Mateo, and Huffman do up. The trio, 1 for 3 so far today. That'll miss inside, 2-0. So far, Skylar Gonzalez has struck out 1 and given up 3 base runners, but he has gotten out of the jam every single time. He'll hit the zone on that 2-seam fastball, 2-1 from Gonzalez. fouled away. Tampa women's basketball is going to be home tomorrow as the Spartans take on Embry-Riddle. And on Sunday, they'll host Embry-Riddle as well. My colleague Jack Ike will be covering the games, I believe alongside DeCarlo DeVoe. You can either check them out live at the Bob Martinez Center or listen in on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. The throw to first, just for the official out on that drop third strike. Swing and a miss. And it is one away in the top of the third on the second Gonzalez strikeout. That's going to bring up Mateo. It's been an up and down day for Mateo. He's made some good catches in right field. But he also had that missing diving play with the bases loaded. Nice slider for strike one. On that line drive by Carstetter, Mateo laid it all on the line to try to get the ball. It bounced past him all the way to the wall. And his relay wasn't home in time to prevent an inside-the-park home run / fielder's choice triple. So a tough outcome for the Hawks and Mateo. He wants to try to turn things around at the plate. Gonzalez has other ideas. Swing and a miss. 2 straight strikeouts. 2 outs in the inning. And if it wasn't for that 4-pitch at-bat to start the inning with the missed opening pitch, Gonzalez would be on track for an immaculate inning. Hoffman singled last time in a 2-strike situation. Let's see what he does right here. Fastball missing up high for ball 1. Good slider inside. Always a tricky one to go against the opposite-handed batter. Swing and a miss. This time the 2-seamer breaking a little bit lower than Huffman was expecting. And now Gonzalez 1 strike away from getting out of the inning. This is where Huffman thrived back in the first inning. But he won't this time. Swing and a miss. A trio of Gonzalez strikeouts retires the side in order. And we're headed to the bottom of the third.
Of our
Yep. And we're back at the University of Tampa. Ruffner ready to continue on the mound. Villegas, Urso, and Russo due up. As we start the inning, I want to remind everyone, Happy Valentine's Day. Always a special day, not just on the field, but off the field as well. When I was catching up with Coach Schissel before the game, he wanted me to give a message out to his wife Mackenzie and his daughter Marley as well for this Valentine's day as well. Swing and a miss. Falling to the ground, Villegas. He's down 0-2. That's going to miss down low. 1-2. Good take by Villegas. Breaking ball missing outside. 2-2 now. Villegas leveling up the count. Beautiful night sky here at U Tampa. I think we still have some clouds in the sky too, but beautiful, cool baseball weather. Pitch sharply to first base. Dropped by Moreno. Flipped to the pitcher, and they beat Villegas by half a step. Great hustle by Ruffner on the play after it was initially dropped by Moreno. That's going to be the first out of the inning. Here comes J.D. Urso. Good start to the season back with the Spartans for Urso. He transferred to Miami last year, featuring in D1. But for the extra year of eligibility, has come home to the Spartans. And that'll be ball one. Close call, but just a little bit low. That's going to miss as well. 2-0. Oof, that was a vicious breaking ball, causing Urso to duck, but it almost went into the zone. Ruffner falls behind in the count, 3-0. Russo on deck, but he won't get a chance yet. 3-1. Ruffner stays alive. Had some command issues in his season opener. Hoping to avoid some of them today against a team with the discipline such as the Spartans. And line drive by Urso gets through for a base hit. He's going to stop at first base as the throw almost got past Ortiz. A hard play from Vital. Or hard throw from Vital. And there's one aboard and one out for Russo. If the Russo name is familiar, it should be. The Russo family has had a history of success in Spartans athletics. Russo is a sibling, or Cole Russo is a sibling for Alexa Russo, one of the stars of Tampa's softball team. They both also usually feature on the corner infield positions. Cole Russo at first base, Alexa Russo at third base. Urso takes a step trying to go, ultimately goes back. Good arranging play in center field by Daloff to get the second out of the inning. And there's 2 outs on the board to bring up Braden Woodburn. I got it wrong. Alexa is the cousin of Cole Russo. But so many people, as part of the Russo family, have been connected with Tampa athletics and different sports throughout Tampa as a city. As another cousin, Paul Russo Jr., who is the head coach at Tampa Catholic High School. 1-0 count now for Woodburn. Breaking ball missing away. Nice block by Blaze, but it's 2-0 to Woodburn. 2-0 now from Ruffner. Will miss outside on the fastball. Had a bit of velocity behind it, but just off the plate. And that's ball 4. Woodburn draws another walk. He did so in his previous at-bat. And that's going to bring up Karstetter with 2 away and 2 on board. No need to introduce Karstetter's last at-bat. He turned the scoreline from a 0-0 tie to a 4-0 Spartans lead. A 4 RBI triple, it's recorded as. And Karstetter sends one the other way again. And that is going to be for strike 1, foul. Woodburn and Urso will be running on anything. Vicious slider for strike 2. Unbelievable break on that offering. 0-2 for Karstetter. Fouled again. The pitch count over 50 now for Ruffner. He found himself in his last appearance in a ton of deep counts. 70 in just 2 2/3 innings. But today, a little bit more manageable. Hit on the ground to third. They will apply the tag to end the inning. Urso did a good job to try to avoid it, but couldn't escape Broughton's play to retire the side. So, Tampa does bring 2 base runners aboard. However, they're both stranded, as Tampa holds on to a 4-0 lead through 3 innings.
This is the University of Tampa. UT students travel from across the nation and around the globe to join a dynamic learning community. There are 150 academic programs, continuing studies for non-traditional students, and a highly ranked graduate school. NCAA Division II athletics program.
And we're back at the University of Tampa. Thank you for tuning in on a beautiful Friday night. Valentine's night as well. Don't have anything special for the uniforms today, unfortunately. I was wondering if Tampa was going to try to maybe do something special for Valentine's Day. I know sometimes throughout college baseball and professional baseball for Mother's Day, teams will wear pink. Always cool to see when that happens. I think Mother's Day just falls a little bit outside of the season length for college baseball. At least for D2. Maybe not for D1, though, as that's fouled back. D1 baseball getting opening day underway tonight as well. They're a couple weekends later than D2 baseball, but that's always exciting to keep a track of, too. 0-2 from Ortiz, who's trying to get on board after he walked back in the first inning. Gonzalez in the driver's seat, though. That's hit sharply through the hole. Out of reach for Russo and Saladino, leadoff base runner for the Hawks. One aboard, and that's going to bring up Blaze. Foul, make it 0-1. Hit on the ground. This could be two, but instead of going to second, Carstetter makes the safe play to get the first out of the inning, as that was a pretty slow chopper in the infield. Blaze advances the runner, but the first out of the inning comes as well. Here comes Erickson now with a runner halfway home. Strike one. That hits the outside part of the plate. Erickson flew out to Ashby earlier today. That was on a hard hit ball. That's something that both teams have been able to get, but neither team has found a fly ball clear the fences yet, as that's going to be grounded straight to Gonzalez. He's got plenty of time for out number two, but the runner does reach third. The Hawks would love to bring that one home and cut the deficit 2-3. It's easier said than done, though. A sacrifice wouldn't bring a run home now, thanks to there being two away. Moreno will step up to the plate to try to do so. Carson Moreno, Jr., previously at John Wood Community College. This is his first season with Quincy. Strike one, and you know from Moreno, he seems to attend locations that are named after historical figures. He was at Christopher Columbus High School, John Wood Community College, and now at Quincy University. Although, I don't know if you can really call Quincy sort of the same way as like a full name school like the Community College, John Wood, and then Christopher Columbus High School. I guess when I'm thinking about Quincy, the first thing that pops up to mind would be John Quincy Adams. 1-1 from Gonzalez. Chopped on the ground to Gonzalez, but he's got plenty of time to loop it to first to end the inning. He concedes a base hit, but gets three straight grounders that do send the runner around the base path. But before he touches home plate, the final out's recorded. Tampa holds on to a 4-0 lead, entering the bottom of the fourth.
numerous study rooms and computers.
Leading off for the Spartans, we've got Lenny Ashby. It's 7, 8, and 9 due up for Tampa. These three haven't gotten on board yet today. We'll see if that changes here in the bottom of the fourth. This is already a more successful outing for Ruffner than his opening day start for Quincy. He was on a, I think, more strict pitch count at 70 pitches when he was pulled in the third inning. That's going to be grounded foul for strike two. So far, Ruffner's only given up 3 hits and 2 walks, and he's recorded 2 strikeouts. All 4 of the runs he's conceded came home off of 1 swing by Karstetter. But since then, has kept the Spartans quiet. The 0-2 from Ruffner. That'll miss inside. It's 1-2. He has to deal with quite a few left-handed batters in the order. From Russo, Villegas, Ashby, Saladino, and Williams, who's a switch hitter. Chopped foul on the slider. It's always tricky to try to locate a slider against an opposite-handed hitter. It's one where you'd love to face a right-handed batter and then get him swinging at a slider away. Gonna have to work the slider low and inside. Kind of fool him into thinking it's an inside fastball as Ashby drives that over the bird cage down the left field line. It was also very far in foul territory. It's 1-2. But that might be a souvenir onto one of the neighboring streets. In case you can't see it with the late night lights, although I think you probably can, there is about a 100-foot high net that completely encompasses the U Tampa baseball field. As swing and a miss, third strikeout for Ruffner, 1 away. That helps keep balls in the stadium whenever they're hit deep foul or even deep for home runs. We have got an active campus down the right field line and even sometimes straight away as students are walking to and from locations. And it's always good just to not have a ton of stray baseballs headed onto campus, which is why the nets can kind of keep them located in the ballpark. Ooh, breaking ball almost hitting Irigoyen. That got way away from Ruffner, ball 1. It's a Friday night, so campus is going to be somewhat active. Over in that right field line is more Sonny Hall. Place where you can get some burritos, some sushi, or a new favorite for a lot of students, the Outback on campus, where you can get some sandwiches, some barbecue sliders, even burgers. A fun new restaurant on the U Tampa campus for Tampa students. Good framing attempt by Blaze, but couldn't get the call. It's 3-0. Ruffner gets set. And he'll find the zone, went right down the middle. Obviously, you're taking all the way on the 3-0 count there. But now we might see Irigoyen get a little aggressive. Swing and a miss. Couldn't catch up to the fastball, 3-2. The payoff pitch. Ball 4. Good take by Irigoyen. He'll get aboard with 1 away. That patented Tampa plate discipline with their 3rd walk of the day. They had an impressive walk tally last season, getting on base at a .445 rate as a team. That's a really good on-base percentage just for a player in general, but for a team, that is incredible. And it's a reason that Tampa was so successful and ultimately were national champions. That'll miss down low for ball 1. Good take by Saladino. So far this season, Saladino has drawn 5 walks compared to 3 strikeouts. He did just strike out recently, so make it 4 strikeouts to 3 walks. Clips the corner, 1-1. And that is a much-needed strike to prevent Ruffner from falling behind early in the count again. Ruffner getting ready. The 1-1. Saladino drives that into the gap. It should stay in play, though. Caught by the center fielder. And Daloff's going to get out number 2 in his glove. A high fly ball, but didn't go deep enough to be really scary for the Hawks. Back to the top of the order, and back to Jordan Williams. Williams was hit by a pitch in the first inning, had a line out in the second inning. He's got a chance to keep the bottom of the 4th alive for Tampa. Ball 1 missing away. Alongside getting a ton of hits, Williams has been incredible in clutch positions. He's had 2 sacrifice flies in the season. It's pretty impressive to do when you're batting .625. That means a good chunk of the outs that ended up with him not getting on board were bringing runs home for the Spartans still. 13 41 RBIs for Tampa is certainly very impressive. Ruffner gets set to 2-0. Hopped on the ground. This will be a close play at first base with Williams' speed. And he's out by a step. Great hustle by Ortiz to flip the ball to Moreno in time, and that'll retire the side.
This is the University of Tampa. UT students travel from across the nation and around the globe to join a dynamic learning community. There are 150 academic programs, continuing studies for non-traditional students, and a highly ranked graduate school. A Division II athletics program. The UT experience begins with an innovative first-year program and continues with opportunities to challenge yourself in the honors program, to study abroad, to conduct research with faculty, to do an internship, to volunteer in the community.
Yep, ready to go. Top of the 5th, ready to get underway at the University of Tampa. After that chaotic first inning, things have actually been flying by. Only an hour for the first half of the game, you could say. As that one's hit deep foul. Will it escape the park? Yes, it will. Onto the street. Strike one. Over to the left-hand side of the outfield, very far away, is the Strass Center. You can see the sign from the Tampa campus. And always, it's within walking distance for Spartan students. Always a good spot to stop on the weekends, or if you've got a time during a night in the week to go to a performance or one of the events there. Right next to the Strass Center is the Barrymore Hotel. Another residential spot for students, as there's a strikeout from Gonzalez. One away in the top of the fifth. Gonzalez with 5 strikeouts in the game. He's definitely improved his strikeout stuff this season. 11 through 9 innings in his first 2 outings, and now he's made it 16 through 13 and a third. The bunt goes foul. I think Quincy just want to put the ball in play for the Spartans, as Gonzalez has been almost unhittable within the last 2 innings. Diloff was hoping to use his speed that time. Hit down the line for a base hit. Getting to the ball is Williams. Going for 2 is Diloff. Throw to second. That was a very good throw, but not in time. Diloff had about a full second to reach second safely, but that was a very good relay from Williams, and maybe that'll have Quincy a little bit worried about sending runners on his arm later in the day today. That was a good throw. It was on target, and I think about as good as you could have done in that situation. A slow grounder down the left field line. That's almost always going to be a double, but Williams made that a photo finish at second base. Here comes Broughton back at the top of the order. Fastball inside for ball 1. The 0-1. Did he go? That is a strike, says the second base umpire. You've got Nelson Fraley and Jose Sandoval as our umpires tonight. Pretty sure they'll be sticking around for the Saturday and Sunday games too. Those are going to be at 3 p.m. and 12 p.m., well, noon, respectively, later this weekend. Deep fly ball. Villegas is going to have enough time to get there. Runner goes, and that relay is not going to stop him from reaching third safely. 2 away, runner 90 feet away. And now it'll be Mateo trying to bring home the first run for Quincy. The first pitch hits him. Slider missing inside, and Mateo takes the free base. Second hit by pitch we've seen today was Williams getting the free pass on a breaking ball missing inside in the first inning. And that time, the slider just bouncing off Mateo gives him a free base. Runners at the corners, tying runs on deck for Quincy. A chance for them to try to get something going, try to begin a comeback. So far today, though, Quincy's 0 for 6 with runners on board. 0 for 5 in scoring position. Huffman has one of the 4 hits for Quincy so far. He struck out back in the third. Missing inside, ball 1. Good spot, but didn't get the call. Irigoyen was quickly making sure they weren't trying a steal from Mateo. Just 2 stolen base attempts this season from Quincy. Both of them have been successful. One of them from Vital, the other from Mateo. blooper. It is picked up on one hop by Saladino. With 2 away, just an underhand toss to Russo. Gets Gonzalez out of the jam. So the Spartans strand 2 more Hawks as they hold on to their 4-run lead, entering the bottom of the 5th.
In the late 1920s, the prospect of a Hillsborough High student enrolling in college was bleak. The nation was in the throes of the Great Depression. Businesses were failing, and many of Tampa's beautiful waterfront homes were left abandoned. The principal at Hillsborough High, Frederick Spalding, didn't see these barriers. He only saw bright young students who were in need of a place to continue their learning. In 1931, collegiate-level courses were offered at Hillsborough High. This would later become the University of Tampa. On August 2, 1933, Spalding arrived at the doors of Plant Hall with a 100-year lease from the city and a firm resolve, and with the turn of a key, opened the door to the University of Tampa. In its fledgling years, UT was fortunate if it could collect half of the tuition due from its students. It was only through the dedication of its professors, who worked without pay, that the university survived the Great Depression. Over the next several decades, UT grew slightly, enrolling up to 1,800 at times, starting several sports teams, and even began accepting students from other areas of the country. But in the early 90s, the growth seemed to stand still, even stop. UT needed new life, some passion. UT needed strong leadership.
In 1995, Dr. Vaughn became president and UT began to transform. 1,000 UT students has become 7,200, and we are now entering our 17th consecutive year of record enrollment. All the while, UT's academic profile continues to increase. There has been $350 million in new construction since 2000.
And welcome back to the University of Tampa, bottom of the 5th. Villegas, Urso, and Russo due up. Let's give you a quick rundown at some of the other Spartan sports going on. Tampa trails 2-0 to St. Leo still in softball, but they do have a base runner to lead off the bottom of the 6th. Strike 1 for Villegas as we get started here in the bottom of the 5th. Tampa's men's lacrosse is also now underway against Rockhurst, or will be in a few minutes' time. Both those games also on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. Line drive, but a pretty easy catch for Huffman. 1 away. Just not enough power there by Villegas. He'll fall to 0 for 3. That'll bring up J.D. Urso. Urso got on board earlier today. Now I'd like to get the Spartans offense going again. Tampa scored 4 runs on 3 hits. They've also had 3 walks drawn so far. Urso reached base twice, once on a fielder's choice, and then on a single back in the 3rd. Swing and a miss, 0-1. Ball 1 missing away. Not only is it also D1 opening night, these last few days have seen the return and report of pitchers and catchers for Major League Baseball across the U.S., of course, primarily in Arizona and in Florida. Ball 2 missing away. I'm pretty sure someone who frequently covers Spartan athletics and even other Sunshine State Conference athletics, Josh Sperber, is down at Clearwater covering some of the spring training stuff going for the Philadelphia Phillies. That'll be pretty cool to see. Hear some stories when he comes back for more Spartan sports later this spring. Great effort. They get the out. Hoffman with a good throw. Moreno with an even better grab, scooping it out of the dirt. Urso can't beat the play. It's 2 away in the bottom of the 5th. That is definitely a confidence builder for the infield and for Ruffner there. 1 more out, and he will have completed 5 innings on the mound. Here comes Cole Russo to the plate. First pitch from Ruffner. Bullpen is empty for the Hawks. You can imagine that he'll be back out for the 6th as well, as long as things end in a timely manner here in the bottom of the 5th. Both starters could be set to go the distance, or a good chunk of the distance, in this game, and that'll keep their bullpens healthy as the weekend continues. 2-0. One thing Urso said he's looking forward to seeing this weekend is more from the Spartans bullpen. Also hoping for them to be a little bit stronger, although he's already had some great outings from some of the players already. I know Ethan Brown had a good outing, and he also gave a shout out to Michael Alfonso. Alfonso, I think, starting to emerge as a closer for the Spartans. Arguably the first true closer we've had since Braden Nelson graduated. Spartans' bullpen's pretty deep, but Alfonso could assert himself as that true ninth inning guy. Or maybe even 8th to 9th inning guy if he's using a slightly longer role. Ball 4. Russo gets on 4 pitches. That'll bring up Braden Woodburn. And Woodburn has seen 4 balls in both of his at-bats. 2 walks today for the number 2. Definitely imagine that Quincy is going to want Ruffner to pitch to Woodburn this time with Carstetter on deck, especially because Carstetter was successful back in the first inning in his first try. Woodburn fouls this one away, swinging early for strike 1. Woodburn made it all the way home after getting a walk in the first inning. That's going to hit the zone for strike 2. Good location on the top of the zone. That's a tough call there. Coin flip, if you will. Let's see how Woodburn recovers. 2 strikes, 2 away. Chance for Ruffner to get out of the jam. Line drive. That's going to get down. A little blooper into right field. Runners at first and second. Even with the runners going, thanks to there being 2 outs, there wasn't going to be enough time for Russo to make it to third before Mateo would have brought a throw to the hot corner. 2 outs, 2 base runners for Carstetter. He has seen 5 base runners on the base paths in his at-bats today. This will be number 6 and 7. He brought home 4 runs in the first inning. Couldn't in the third inning, I believe. He was out on a fielder's choice. He's 1 for 2. Let's see what he does here. Ball 1, just missing up high. In the driver's seat of this at-bat, you definitely want to get that first ball to get ahead. The 1-0 from Ruffner. Outside 2-0. There is a free base for Ruffner, but if you concede a walk to Carstetter, you've got Ashby up next. Going out of the frying pan and into the fire when you do so. Ashby has also been a dangerous Spartan batter. .263 average. He's had a little more power, though, with 3 extra base hits, 2 doubles, and a home run. .550 slugging percentage in the season. Tampa entering today have a team average of .517 for their slugging. .2-0 to Carstetter. Swing and a miss. 2-1. That's an important strike to get from Ruffner. Flared down the line, but foul. And finally, we've got some movement from the Quincy bullpen. Ruffner's pitch count about to hit 90 on this next offering. I believe it'll be 89. So that could prompt the change for the bottom of the 6th. I don't know if there's similar movement by the Spartans bullpen. with a long season. Wonder how long they'll let Gonzalez go. Anyway, the 2-2 to Karstetter, 3-2. This will be pitch 90 for Ruffner, and we'll see the runners moving. A payoff pitch to the Arizona State transfer, the former IMG Academy player. And that is a pitch clock violation. A little too late to set up the payoff pitch, and that is going to put Karstetter on first. That has got to be painful for Ruffner with the extra pressure of the full count. Ruffner took a little too long to get set, so the pitch count, or the pitch clock, expires, giving a free ball and ultimately base to Karstetter. That's the first time this season we've actually seen a pitch clock violation like this. This does happen very rarely. You know, there was a lot of people detracting the pitch clock because they were worried about it always getting in the way, but I can confidently say that's the first time I've seen an at-bat end because of the pitch clock here at Tampa. It's always up to umpire discretion, of course. This year a little bit less so. We've got more pitch clocks out there, but you know, they'll sometimes give a little bit of wiggle room. That time I think it was a little too much. That'll open the door for Ashby. He's at the plate with the bases loaded, 2 away. 0 for 2 with a strikeout and pop-out. Ball 1 taken outside. We also just saw a quick conference on the mound. I believe that was Shane Hershelman headed out there to quickly chat with Ruffner. As we do have people stretching and tossing in the bullpen. Looks like they'll be bringing on 2 left-handed pitchers, and it's a 5-0 Spartans lead. Ruffner misses the zone and plunks Ashby to bring home a run. That time went to the breaking ball inside. He had a hit by pitch on that offering earlier, and it happens again. Bases full still. It'll be Irigoyen stepping up. With Tampa having 4 left-handed batters and 1 switch hitter in the lineup, it makes sense as to why Quincy would want to bring on a left-hander next. When Villegas, Russo, Ashby, and Saladino are around the corner, it's always good to try to have that same-handed advantage. I imagine that if we get to Saladino, they'd probably make the call to have the lefty-lefty matchup to try to end the inning. And we might be getting just that. Deep fly ball by Irigoyen. Just enough time for Mateo as he falls and makes the catch. Bases are left full. The good news, though, for the Spartans, they extend the lead to 5-0 after a hit by pitch. We'll be back with more action on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network.
Center includes a large gymnasium, a weight room, and training facilities. In addition, the campus features an aquatic center open year-round.
And we're back at the University of Tampa. Skylar Gonzalez looking to complete his first quality start of the season. He's held Quincy scoreless through 5 innings. Tampa just brought a run home via hit by pitch. I'm Taylor Storworthy. Welcome back to the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network for more Spartans baseball. And we've got a pitch clock violation once more. We'll start the at-bat with a 1-0 count in favor of Ortiz, I believe. So, second time we've seen a violation after we had that call earlier on the full count. I imagine that means Fraley and Sandoval have to be a little more attentive now to any time the pitch clock could be violated, because they'll have both fans and players going, hey, you called it earlier, you're not calling it again. Now it's a 2-1 count. Gonzalez battling back, but still trailing. I think you noticed after that, or wait a minute, no, it's the opposite, I believe. Ortiz didn't get to the plate at time, so it's now a 1-2 count. Now it's 2-2. So a little confusing there. Ortiz received a strike for not being ready to start the at-bat. And that's going to be strike 3. One away now, and that's going to bring up a brand new batter in Blaze. And by brand new, I mean he's 0 for 2 today. I don't know why I mentioned brand new, as he's faced Gonzalez twice. You could see some changes a little bit later on for Quincy in the lineup. You certainly imagine they'll do so on the mound. Ooh, fastball misses from Gonzalez. It didn't hit Blaze. It gives a nice little thumbs up to the umpire. It's 1-0. Always good for quick confirmation from the batter. Make sure he's all good after that. Command not perfect today from both starters. We saw a hit by pitch earlier from Gonzalez, and 2 of them from Quincy's starter. One of those hit by pitches brought home a run. That's going to make the count 2-1 now for Gonzalez. Pitch count at 78. Three and 1. Gonzalez falling behind. He's got 1 walk conceded today. And he's also got Erickson on deck. Swing and a miss. Full count. Ball 4. Good spot from Gonzalez, but couldn't get the call. And that's not an easy pitch to take if you're Blaze, but he is rewarded as he gets aboard for the first time today. Double play opportunity on the board for the Spartans. We haven't seen them turn one yet today. Haven't had too many chances to do so. Erickson will hope to not hit into one. That misses inside for ball 1. That's going to miss down low, ball 2. Erickson's going to get ahead to start the at-bat. And here comes Sam Militello, unsurprisingly. We'll talk things over with Gonzalez. Wonder if starting to see Gonzalez close to empty on the fuel tank. He's done a good job today, and I also wonder if he's going a little too fast maybe. He's had a very good pace of play today, but alongside some of the pitch count calls so far, maybe he's just rushing things a little too much. We're getting set. Militello headed back out to the dugout. Fraley behind home plate. I think he was signaling over to the dugout that this was the one meeting you get before you have to change the pitcher when you go to a mound visit like this. Here's the 2-0. Strike one. Wonder if it also counted for the Spartans' timeout in this at-bat. That's part of the new pitch clock rules where you only get one chance to pull away per plate appearances. Here's the 2-1. Grounded up the middle, but it's in foul territory on the first bounce. So we'll go again with a 2-2 count. Not a large lead from Blaze. And Erickson stays alive, fouling that offering off. Deep drive into the gap. That's going to get down for Villegas. Runner's going to third. Another runner going to second. And the aggressiveness by Quincy doesn't pay off. Erickson's out at second. Blaze 90 feet away. And there's 2 outs here in the top of the 6th. That was a well-hit ball from Erickson, but great reactions by Villegas. He sees the lead runner going to third, but he notices Erickson headed to second. And he realizes he's got enough time if he gets the throw in, does so perfectly. And even though Quincy gets someone 90 feet away, the second out of the inning is in the hands of the Spartans. Will this be out number 3? Russo. Tracking. That's off the net. 0-1. Moreno had a strikeout and a ground out. Swing and a miss, 0-2. One more strike, and Gonzalez will have completed 6 innings of shutout work. Can they get it? In the dirt. Good take on a vicious breaking ball by Gonzalez. The 1-2. In the dirt again. Good block by Irigoyen. The count goes 2-2. Swing and a miss. A big whiff as Gonzalez gets his 7th strikeout in 6 innings of baseball. And Tampa strands a runner at third to hold on to a 5-0 lead. Due up, Saladino, Williams, and Villegas. We'll be right back.
In the late 1920s, the prospect of a Hillsborough High student enrolling in college was bleak. The nation was in the throes of the Great Depression. Businesses were failing, and many of Tampa's beautiful waterfront homes were left abandoned. The principal at Hillsborough High, Frederick Spalding, didn't see these barriers. He only saw bright young students who were in need of a place to continue their learning. In 1931, collegiate-level courses were offered at Hillsborough High. This would later become the University of Tampa. On August 2, 1933, Spalding arrived at the doors of Plant Hall with a 100-year lease from the city and a firm resolve, and with the turn of a key, opened the door to the University of Tampa. In its fledgling years, UT was fortunate if it could collect half of the tuition due from its students. It was only through the dedication of its professors, who worked without pay, that the university survived the Great Depression. Over the next several decades, UT grew slightly, enrolling up to 1,800 at times, starting several sports teams, and even began accepting students from other areas of the country. But in the early 90s, the growth seemed to stand still, even stop. UT needed new life, some passion. UT needed strong leadership.
In 1995, Dr. Vaughn became president and UT began to transform. 1,000 UT students has become 7,200, and we are now entering our 17th consecutive year of record enrollment. All the while, UT's academic profile continues to increase. There has been $350 million in new construction since 2000. We have added 7 new residence halls, academic buildings and labs, as well as athletic facilities. Plant Hall even got new carpet and new windows. UT now has more.
Yep. So we got our first call to the bullpen here in the bottom of the 6th. Replacing Ruffner after he completed 5 innings of baseball is Tim Reinholz, the senior from Waterloo, Illinois. This looks to be the first appearance for Reinholz this season, as he'll take strike 1, opening up against Saladino. A left-handed batter, a switch-hitting batter, and a left-handed batter are who the 28 is sent to face off against. Reinholz featured 12 times last season, striking out 13 batters over 17 innings. This won't be a strikeout, but the catch is made for out number 1. Last season, Quincy's team had an ERA of 6.76. Reinholz is a little bit above the team ERA average. He did have a 1-1 record in his bullpen appearances. Swing and a miss, sort of fouled away by Williams. Williams now batting from the right side of the plate. Well, actually it's the left side of the plate, but batting as a right-handed batter in this plate appearance, given that he's a switch-handed batter. It's definitely interesting. That is a right-handed batter. Bat on the left side. Left-handed batter, you bat on the right side. Well, it's because the dominant hand is what propels the swinging motion there. Williams with his right hand, he'll take outside for ball 1. This might be the first time this season Williams hasn't recorded a base hit in a start. Was 10 for 16 entering the season in terms of his plate appearances. While he did get hit by a pitch in the first inning, he's had 2 outs since. That is also going to be an out, I believe. Mateo tracking, making the catch on the run. He crashes into the bullpen wall for out number 2. Great hustle as he was shifted a little bit to the left. Here comes Villegas with the bases empty and 2 outs. Another lefty-lefty matchup for Reinholz. Flared down the line and foul. It's 0-1. Down the line and foul. Does that clear the birdcage? No, that one does stay in the field of play right by the Spartans bullpen. 0-2. One more strike, and Reinholz would have a 1-2-3 inning against the Spartans. Swing and a miss. Reinholz with a strikeout and 2 quick flyouts. Has a strong bottom of the 6th against the Spartans to kick off his 2025 campaign. Still a 5-0 Tampa lead when we come back in the top of the 7th.
This is the University of Tampa. UT students travel from across the nation and around the globe to join a dynamic learning community. There are 150 academic programs, continuing studies for non-traditional students, and a highly ranked graduate school. NCAA Division II athletics program.
We're about ready to go here in the top of the 7th. The day is done for Skylar Gonzalez. It is Eli Thurmond now on the mound for Tampa. Gonzalez finishes the day with 6 innings, 7 strikeouts, 5 hits and 2 walks. No runs have come home. Thurmond ready to go. Thurmond was the unlucky recipient of the lone Spartan defeat this season. He has struck out 9 batters over 6 innings. He'll find the zone here to make it 1-1. So Thurmond still continuing. And he'll get out number 1 on that quick grounder to Russo on the fair ball. 1 away. So Vital put the ball in play, but couldn't get on board. Thurman's been a pretty consistent reliever for the Spartans throughout his tenure with Tampa. The senior joined the Spartans from State College of Florida and can't make the grab as the line drive whizzed right by him on the mound. That was going in a hurry, and Thurman tried to position his arm to deflect it behind him, but just couldn't do it. That would have been an impressive play. So it's a base hit for Daloff. He is on first base now with 1 away. Broughton at the plate. After suffering defeat against Montevallo last weekend, let's see if Thurmond can get some redemption today. Although he's going to have to wait for the next batter. Villegas gets it in center field. They thought about sending the runner. They think better of it. 2 aboard, 1 away. That time it was a blooper up the middle. Here comes Mateo. After getting hit by a pitch last time, he'd like to get revenge here on Thurmond to keep the offense rolling. Up the middle, but it's a double play territory for the Spartans. Saladino, Urso, Russo, 4-6-3 double play, and immediately Thurmond escapes the jam. So Quincy get 2 base runners, but a 4-6-3 double play from Saladino, Urso, and Russo retire the side. 5-0 Spartan lead as we get set for the 7th inning stretch and the bottom of the 7th.
To all students and provides high quality.
And we're back at Tampa on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. A beautiful night at the University of Tampa. And the first pitch from Reinholtz misses down low for ball 1. Reinholtz entered the previous inning and retired 3 Spartans in order. He'll now face Urso, Russo, and Woodburn, unless we see some changes on the bench. So 1-1, there was a little bit of a something that happened. We saw Urso and Blaze, I think, laughing it off as I think time might have been called. But either way, both those two seem in good spirits as the count goes 1-1. Quincy and the Spartans opening a 3-game series this weekend. We'll be back at 3 p.m. tomorrow as Quincy and the Spartans take on each other again. As that misses outside for ball 2. Quincy are going to stay down south after this weekend series in Tampa, taking on Albany State on Tuesday, and then a weekend series starting on Thursday against Georgia Southwestern State on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. 3-1, Urso ahead. Russo on deck. After playing against Georgia Southwestern State, Quincy will head home to Illinois to open regular season play at home against Colorado School of Mines in a 4-game series. Now the count's full to J.D. Urso. Meanwhile, once the series against Quincy wraps up for the Spartans, we kick off Sunshine State Conference play with a 3-game set against Lynn on February 21st, next Friday. This is part of a 10-game home stretch from now until March 3rd, before Tampa has a couple of road trips where, coincidentally, they'll also be taking on Albany State, but that's a bit further on. For now, we continue with the Spartans and Hawks, and a base runner on board with an Urso walk. Here comes Cole Russo. Lefty on lefty matchup from Reinholtz. He's got a bit of a combo of a 3/4 sidearm delivery. No, actually, I don't know what I was thinking, but a bit of an awkward delivery. It is sort of more at a 3/4 release, but kind of a funky motion as he starts his windup. Could make it a little trickier for left-handed batters to keep up with it. He sort of starts kind of further back on his motion, but he doesn't release it necessarily over the head. He kind of releases it at the 3/4 slot with a sort of over-the-top motion. Kind of interesting to see. 1-1 count now for Russo. We've got Brown and Alfonso behind the dugout stretching and tossing. Swing and a miss by Russo, 1-2. Brown and Alfonso could get the call from the bullpen later tonight if the Spartans want one of their high-leverage guys to close out the game. Thurman's also known to go the distance. Maybe the Spartans try to keep him in for a little while. Fouled again, still 1-2. And now Reinholtz getting set ahead of the count to Russo. Runner goes down the line. Fair ball. That should score the runner. Russo with a stand-up double, and Urso makes it all the way home from first. Another clutch base hit from Russo. 6-0 Spartans lead on the hit and run. Good job to battle back after falling behind in the count. Here comes Braden Woodburn. So the infield for Quincy is shifted a little bit to the left. As that's going to get into the dirt for ball 1. Good block by Blaze. The outfield stays sort of at a normal shift, but the infield is a bit to the left. Ortiz probably also trying to hold Russo at second, but he's pretty close to the bag. Hoffman playing pretty much right down the middle of second and third. And Broughton pretty close to the line. That's going to be hit sharply to short. That's in time for out number 1. Good throw from Hoffman. Russo makes it to third base. Can Carstetter bring home another RBI? Russo's third. A fly ball from Carstetter would allow him to tag up and make it home. And a base hit probably lets him trot the 90 feet to score an extra run. The first pitch missing up high. Good catch by Blaze. A run probably would have scored if it got by him. Infield playing pretty closely in. That's going to get away from the catcher. Russo's heading home. Flip. They got him. Heads up play by Blaze after the ball got away. And they have just enough time to get it to Reinholtz to make the tag. 2 outs, base is empty, but a 2-0 count for Carstetter. You gotta send the runner in a situation like that. Russo just one step away as Blaze recovered very nicely. Three 3-0 for Carstetter. He actually might be able to get aboard. They've got Ashby, the left-handed batter, on deck. No, they're going to be bringing in Maddox King. They've got a sidearm right-handed pitcher warming up in the bullpen for Quincy. As that is ball 4 for Carstetter, he gets 4 straight outside pitches to take the free base. Maddox King ready to go. He's entered the game as a pinch hitter with the lefty on the mound. It makes sense. Carstetter with a quick jump. And thanks to that nice jump, he's going to slide in easily to second safely. Carstetter gets his 3rd stolen base of the season. Tampa gets yet another in the ballgame. Oh 1 now to King. He'll take outside for 0-2. Good location on the outside corner. Time called. Still 0-2. Reinholtz trying to get out of the jam. 1 run has scored for the Spartans. That's going to get in the dirt. Good block by Blaze. 1-2. That's going to get away from Blaze. Another wild pitch. And strolling into third is Carstetter. Got on board with a walk, stole second, and now reaches third to be 90 feet away. 2-2 count to Maddox King. I do think with this change, it's not going to signal everyone in the lineup getting replaced for the Spartans, but it does give a chance for Maddox King to get another plate appearance. As with some of the talent we've got at Tampa this year, King has fallen out of the starting order. But for King, this at-bat's going to end with a disappointing strikeout. And ultimately, Reinholtz strands a runner at third. 1 run scores on the Russo RBI. We'll be back in the top of the 8th.
In the late 1920s, the prospect of a Hillsborough High student enrolling in college was bleak. The nation was in the throes of the Great Depression. Businesses were failing, and many of Tampa's beautiful waterfront homes were left abandoned. The principal at Hillsborough High, Frederick Spaulding, didn't see these barriers. He only saw bright young students who were in need of a place to continue their learning. In 1931, collegiate-level courses were offered at Hillsborough High. This would later become the University of Tampa. On August 2, 1933, Spaulding arrived at the doors of Plant Hall with a 100-year lease from the city and a firm resolve, and with the turn of a key, opened the door to the University of Tampa. In its fledgling years, UT was fortunate if it could collect half of the tuition due from its students. It was only through the dedication of its professors, who worked without pay, that the university survived the Great Depression. Over the next several decades, UT grew slightly, enrolling up to 1,800 at times, starting several sports teams, and even began accepting students from other areas of the country. But in the early 90s, the growth seemed to stand still, even stop. UT needed new life, some passion. UT needed strong leadership.
In 1995, Dr. Vaughn became president and UT began to transform. 1,000 UT students has become 7,200, and we are now entering our 17th consecutive year of record enrollment.
Huffman leads off for Quincy. Welcome back to the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. And we are ready to go with Thurman's first pitch of the brand new frame. Fouled. Thurman had a pretty clean inning last time around, conceded 2 base runners, but got a double play to get out of the jam. Thurman's looking to keep the Spartans with a 6-run lead right here. And he'll miss to make it 1-1. Huffman started the game with a single, hasn't gotten back on board since. That's going to be driven to third. Carsetter's throw on target. He made that one look easy. 1 away. That's going to bring J.D. Ortiz to the plate. And he'll take outside for strike 1. Tampa scored 6 runs on 5 hits. Quincy have been held scoreless, even though they have had 7 hits. Main difference, Tampa's drawn 7 walks today. Looking like the vintage Spartans. 2-1. Ortiz singled in the 4th, struck out in the 6th, got on board with a walk in the 1st. 2-2. Fouled away, still 2-2. Three and 2 now. Thurman can't get the final strike. Good take by Ortiz. Strike 3. Thurman gets him looking. A big first strikeout of the inning for Thurman, and a second out. That's going to bring up Blaze. Blaze has had an active day behind home plate, having to get it in front of a couple wild pitches. He was able to get Russo out on the base path after he tried to advance in a wild pitch earlier. Blaze has been pretty quiet at the plate, though. He drew a walk last time. 2-0 missing. So it looks like Irigoyen's going to need a new glove. He's going to go to the dugout to get it. And he's headed back to home plate. By the way, positional change, forgot to mention, Maddox King is now out in center field for the Spartans. Two 2-0 count for Blaze, who is ahead in the count. That's going to be hit to Urso. His throw in time. We always love to see J.D. Urso making those 6-3 outs look as easy as they possibly could be. It's a 1-2-3 inning for Eli Thurman. Tampa has one more chance to extend their advantage before we enter Last Chance Saloon. Bottom of the 8th coming up next.
This is the University of Tampa. UT students travel from across the nation and around the globe to join a dynamic learning community. There are 150 academic programs, continuing studies for non-traditional students, and a highly ranked graduate school. Division II athletics program.
Call to the bullpen for Quincy. They are bringing on their second reliever of the day. They are bringing on the 32 of Dylan Graw. Graw is a junior from Victoria, Canada. He comes from Highland Community College. And that vicious slider hits the zone for strike one against Irigoyen. The complete opposite of the previous arm, Graw has a sidearm release as a right-handed pitcher. Saw Reinhold sort of with the over-the-top, awkward delivery. But here, Graw gets down low with his right hand for his offerings. That time the fastball blazed by Irigoyen for a strike. Here's the 0-2. That is a wicked slider, and Irigoyen gets a piece of it, but it's an easy ground out. One away. First out on 3 pitches from Graw. Saladino and Williams due up. Not sure if Williams will get his final at-bat or not. It does look like he will, as he is going to take some warm-up swings. I was wondering if Coach Urso is thinking about a substitution. He's keeping Saladino in, though, too. He's hoping to turn around his 0-for-3 day. Swing and a miss as he whiffs at a slider. And that misses inside and hits him. Saladino gets on board with a hit by pitch. There's no bad blood between these teams, even though we've seen, I think, 6 hit by pitches today. Just at this level, the command not always perfect. You've seen 2 bullpen hit by pitches and 4 starter hit by pitches, I think. Williams now at the plate. He also wasn't immune to getting plunked either, having gotten aboard to start the ball game with a hit by pitch. Now he's got a base runner with one away. Fouled 0-1. Since that hit by pitch, Williams is 0 for 3. So a rare cold day for the Spartans leadoff man. On the ground, 0-2. Williams stepping away. And I believe it might be a 1-1 count. I'm not sure if that was the umpire was signaling or not. Still actually think it is 0-2. Swing and a miss. So wicked slider for strike 3. 2 strikeouts. Or 1 strikeout for Graw. But he's already delivered a couple of big whiffs. Villegas slaps that through the hole. Gets past Huffman and will put Saladino at second. And we do get a call to the bench for the Spartans. They have brought in Jake Griffith, the senior from Fort Myers. He's a left-handed batter and was pretty present throughout most of last season. He's only had 1 try this year. He got a base hit in that 1 appearance. Tampa is spoiled for choice in the outfield this season. That's why someone who hit .292, .440, .411 last year has to come in off the bench for the Spartans. He had 14 multi-hit games. And he'll take inside for ball 1. So when you have someone like Griffith that you can bring off the bench, that again just tells you how strong this Tampa depth is. And Griffith is going to flare that to right field. That should get down and could score 2. Mateo slow to get it, brings 1 run home, and the runners held at second and third. Griffith stays with a 1,000 batting average as Tampa takes a 7-0 lead. That'll bring up Russo, and I think they just brought in Griffith because they liked the lefty-on-righty matchup. So Tampa extends the advantage with their 6th hit of the game and 2 away. Actually, 7th hit of the game and 2 away. And the Spartans add 1 more run to their lead. He had 37 RBIs last year in 56 appearances. That's his first of 2025. That's going to miss in the dirt. Good block by Blaze, 1-0. A.J. Graham enters the game as a pinch runner. He'll most likely stay in the game in the 9th inning as the shortstop replacement. Graham is a freshman infielder from Tampa. Swing and a miss in the dirt. Huge whiff by Russo. That has been one good offering from Graw. That slider has generated a ton of misses from the Spartans. even against left-handed batters like Russo. Here's the 1-2, I believe. Swing and a miss. I was wrong. It was 1-1. Now it's 1-2. One more strike, and Graw is out of the inning. Two and two. Graw gets set. The 2-2. Goes outside with a slider, misses the zone, and the count goes full to Russo. Braden Woodburn's on deck, but Tampa preparing to go to the bench again. Drake Harmon, with some warm-up swings, could be getting the call. Payoff pitch. Ball 4. Good take by Russo. The bases are loaded for Harmon. Harmon is another Spartan to come from Santa Fe College. He had a .337 average in 45 games at Santa Fe. And he also had 18 stolen bases over 2 years, the most for Santa Fe players in that span. A couple other Spartans are from Santa Fe College. Tobin Moran and Santiago Garavito are the two prime examples of Santa Fe players that have made a Spartan regulars. Although Garavito's starting catcher position has shifted over to Irigoyen now. So kind of interesting to see, but Irigoyen has been impressive behind home plate, although he is 0 for 3 today. So I know Irigoyen and Garavito kind of in a platoon. They're kind of going back and forth. I wonder if we'll see Garavito later this weekend. We will see Harmon right now. Ball 1 missing away. Harmon's had 3 tries, and while he has scored as a run, he's only been able to muster a walk to get on base once this season. Maybe he could get another. 2-0 count now as that misses down low. Another lefty for Graw to face off against. Missing again, 3-0. There's no activity in the Quincy bullpen. With 2 away, they're just going to wait for Graw to get that final out. But obviously, if you're Graw, 7-run game, you're just going to want to try to find the zone here on the 3-0 count. Similarly for Harmon, you're keeping the bat on your shoulder. And that's ball 4. Just missed the corner with a fastball. It's an 8-0 Spartan lead. Looks like it'll be Karstetter back at the plate for the Spartans. We've had 2 pinch hitters back-to-back, but that streak comes to an end with the 6th man who's wearing the number 5. Could actually see a second Maddox King at bat. Strike 1 for Karstetter. Tampa's now drawn 8 walks in the ballgame compared to 7 hits. That is a stat line that Spartan fans from last year definitely are more familiar with. The 0-1 to Karstetter. 2 important strikes from Graw. After the 4-pitch walk to Harmon, he's found the zone twice in a row. Now Karstetter waiting to see if Graw did rediscover his command and kept the bat on his shoulder. And now will have to protect in a 2-strike count with 2 away. He cleared the bases the last time he saw the bases loaded. And he'll foul this one away, still 0-2. You can imagine that Carstetter will be the impact player of the game for the Spartans. Alongside the 4 RBI triple, he's drawn 2 walks, 1 for 2. Down the line and foul. They do have a player stretching and tossing in the bullpen in case they do need to bring on someone for that final out. But I'd imagine that Coach Schissel is going to try to have Grog get it, especially with this being a very low leverage appearance. Kind of funny to say that with the bases loaded, but it is. It's also Grog's debut outing for Quincy here. Missing away, good take by Carstetter, and Blaze picks it up. The 1-2. Swing and a miss. Grog gets another strikeout as the side is retired. The bases are left full for the Spartans. 3 outs to go, and it'll be Eli Thurmond trying to shut the door on game 1 of the series. We'll be back with more action on.
In the late 1920s, the prospect of a Hillsborough High student enrolling in college was bleak. The nation was in the throes of the Great Depression. Businesses were failing, and many of Tampa's beautiful waterfront homes were left abandoned. The principal at Hillsborough High, Frederick Spalding, didn't see these barriers. He only saw bright young students who were in need of a place to continue their learning. In 1931, collegiate-level courses were offered at Hillsborough High. This would later become the University of Tampa. On August 2, 1933, Spalding arrived at the doors of Plant Hall with a 100-year lease from the city and a firm resolve, and with the turn of a key, opened the door to the University of Tampa. In its fledgling years, UT was fortunate if it could collect half of the tuition due from its students. It was only through the dedication of its professors, who worked without pay, that the university survived the Great Depression. Over the next several decades, UT grew slightly, enrolling up to 1,800 at times, starting several sports teams, and even began accepting students from other areas of the country. But in the early 90s, the growth seemed to stand still, even stop. UT needed new life, some passion. UT needed strong leadership.
In 1995, Dr. Vaughn became president, and
Erickson, Moreno, Vital. They're the 3 due up for the Hawks in Last Chance Saloon. Welcome back to the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. Tampa looking to close the door on game 1 of the series. Eli Thurmond looking for his 3rd inning on the mound to go smoothly. An update from the Moley family softball field. The Spartans have completed the comeback to win 3-2 against St. Leo. This Spartan team is certainly known as comeback queens. Last weekend, they were able to complete a 5-0 comeback in the bottom of the 7th. Today, they had a 2-run bottom of the 6th inning to tie the game, and Lily Keister walked it off in the bottom of the 7th. Strike 1 hitting the zone. It's now 0-1 for Erickson. Wen McGinnis now improves to a 5-0 record for the Spartans softball team, matching the numbers of that undefeated start of Skylar Gonzalez, as there is the first out of the top of the 9th. A quick ground out from Erickson is going to bring in a pinch hitter for Quincy. They are bringing in Michael Alvarez, the redshirt junior, previously at the University of Hartford. Swing and a miss, 0-1. That's going to miss down low. It's ball one. Thurmond isn't just in line to try to secure the victory. He'll get the save for having 3 innings in the bullpen if he's able to end the inning. He just needs 2 more outs to do so. 1 more strike could get him that second out. Ball 2, missing away. Good frame attempt by Irigoyen, but the count goes full to Moreno. To Alvarez. And strike 3. Big strikeout for Thurmond. 1 out away from a Game 1 Spartans victory. It would be great revenge for Thurmond after taking defeat on Friday night last time. Having 3 shutout innings to secure a W for the Spartans tonight. First pitch swing and a miss. Vital staying in the game. Lefty on righty matchup. And it's 0-1. Missing outside. Ball 1. Jack Haggard getting some warm-up swings as the count goes 2-1. If Vital is able to extend the game by an extra at-bat, we would see the sophomore getting a plate appearance. He's from Key West, previously at Key West High School. And 1 more ball, and he will get a plate appearance. 3-1 count to Vital. Fouled away, payoff pitch coming up. And this could end the game. Tipped away, staying alive. Vital doubled in the second, went down looking in the 5th, and goes down swinging to end the game in the top of the 9th. A combined shutout for Thurmond and Gonzalez brings Tampa to a 6-1 record and 8-0 victory on Friday night. It's the first win of 2025 for Skylar Gonzalez for 6 innings of shutout baseball, and Thurmond picks up his first save of the season, going the rest of the way, 3 innings with 3 strikeouts. It is the 3rd save of the season for the Spartans and the first non-Alfonso save, but with an 8-run deficit, there was no reason to bring in Alfonso yet. They'll keep him healthy for Saturday and maybe Sunday, as we'll continue this series tomorrow. The losing pitcher for Quincy is Ruffner. He battled through 5 innings, but it was 2 moments. The bases-clearing grand slam triple from Karstetter and a hit-by-pitch brought home 5 conceded runs for Ruffner. He struck out 3 in that span to take his second defeat of the season. Ryan Holtzengraw did well in the bullpen. On offense, there wasn't a lot for Quincy to do, although Daloff did get 2 hits. For Tampa, you already mentioned the Karstetter 4 RBIs that proved to be the difference maker. You also saw 2 hits from Russo and RBIs from him and Griffith. So, that'll do it for Friday Night Baseball here at UTampa. I'm Taylor Storworthy. Thank you for tuning in. We've got Alex Doward running the show, and we'll see you tomorrow at 3 p.m. for more Spartans baseball when the Spartans and Hawks